towards this computer. Perfect. We got it. Cool. Well, without further ado, I think it's probably about time to move into our the main portion of the night. The reason why y'all are here, our speakers. So first on the docket, we've got Shalanah Dawson, who's going to demo a meditation app she built with us. You might know Shalanah if you've visited JSMN previously. Shalanah has done some of our some of personally my favorite demos, and I think some of our favorite demos among many of our attendees as well, both in her work and her side projects. So we're really excited to welcome her back to the JSMN stage. Shalanah, if you want, you can feel free to take the wheel from here, share your screen and everything. Let me know if you have any issues with that.
Okay. I feel like you guys can see my screen, right? Or you will. Now you can.
There we go. Perfect. Yep, we're good.
Sweet. Okay, I need to get a couple things ready on my side. Nope, not that one. Okay.
Art is so nice.
Well, hi everyone. I'm going to be presenting a side project app of mine, and it's called Kind Cloud. And I'm just going to double check that the slide deck is working. It is. Great. So before I get started, I want to thank JSMN for always putting on such a great event, and it's a great place to talk and share and learn about what people are doing in the Twin Cities in tech, and it's just awesome. So thank you. If you haven't met me, I am Shalanah, and a couple of things about me. I live in St. Paul. I'm a front-end dev, and actually I'm going to take off these headphones. Can you hear me right now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. Is it okay on volume?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay, good. So a couple of things. I said I live in St. Paul. I'm actually from Chicago, but I live in St. Paul, and I'm a front-end dev at White House Custom Color in Eagan. And something I like to share every once in a while is that, or maybe all the time, I play broomball. That's like, I do that year round. Right now, I think I'm playing 2 times a week indoors, and it'll probably ramp up to like 4 times a week soon with outdoor play. And I usually don't play outdoors, but with COVID, I want to be able to play more. So outdoors is a lot safer, I think. So there's a couple things about me. Okay, so the history of this app, and it's sad. So I'm gonna give myself some hearts, but the history of this app is like many, many years back. There was a difficult relationship with a colleague where it went from kind of like a mentorship relationship to kind of, it seemed like overnight, all of a sudden it changed. And I felt like, well, what's going on? I'm going to try to change my behavior to make the other person behave maybe properly towards me. And then everything I did didn't seem to change. So what was the kind of behavior that I was receiving. And then I realized I'm like, I think this is bullying. And I'm like, I'm an adult. How did this happen? And I was like, it feels like a thing that should happen in elementary school and that's it or something. And of course that's not true. But so that was a really difficult time. And then I did kind of what I do with anything that I don't understand. I did a ton of research. So I'm like, tell me more about bullying and what you can do about it and why does it happen? I was just like obsessively researching it. And so then I came across this really interesting article that linked low self-compassion to being a bully or a victim of bullying. So either one, which I thought was really fascinating. And self-compassion is a really interesting thing because you can actually increase it. So like you can, like, if you're an introvert or an extrovert, that's a hard thing to change, but self-compassion, being nicer to yourself, is definitely something you can do. Like it's something you can get better at. So I'm like, well, what increases self-compassion? And then I came across loving kindness meditation, and I'm not an expert in like the history of it or anything, but I really think it's kind of cool because it follows a pattern. It's very structured. And it did help me. It would calm me down, and it's also kind of sweet. I think it's a very it's really sweet. So I'll go into it in a little bit, but it was kind of cool to look into something that could increase self-compassion. And I'm sure there's other ways to do that besides loving kindness meditation, but I thought that, this helped me out. And how it works is you first say nice things to yourself. That's the self-compassion portion. And then you say nice things to a loved one, which is usually pretty easy, and then a neutral party, and then someone that you find difficult, and then a larger community. So it's very you say those same phrases to each one of those groups. You start with yourself, and I'll show you in just a minute. So that's, but another thing about this was it was really helpful to me, but I'd forget which one I was on. I'd forget what phrases I should say next. So I kind of wanted something to help me remember what to do next. So the app itself is kindcloud.app, and it was made kind of mobile first. It's a responsive app, and I'm going to actually open it in an incognito window so that I don't have my preferences saved out. So this is the desktop version. I'm just going to shrink it down so that we can see. So you can go here and you can follow along if you want. And we're gonna do this together. So anytime you want, you can just get extra hearts. And that's my cat. But you can, and then you click. Oh, before I go into start, I'm going to show the overflow menu. So if you want, you can turn this into having black as your background theme, or lighter, or the kind of navy theme if you'd like. If you have a feature request or you find something wrong with it, you can contact me there, and be interesting to hear if you guys have any feedback on what to change or what you'd want. So let's start. So meditation length really means how many phrases you're going to do, and short means less phrases. You can always get more hearts when you want them. My cat in the background is just cracking me up. But then you pick some topics. So you pick at least 3, but you can pick more. So things that you want to focus on. So I like happiness, ease and peace, and kindness. And the next couple of screens are particularly they're normal intro to meditation stuff. These aren't specific to loving kindness meditation. They're just kind of normal, get ready to get relaxed and things like that. But I do want to say that I feel like you could do this while you're seated, while you're lying down. You could be on a hike. You could be, I don't know, getting lunch or something like that. I didn't want it to be make sure you're lying down, because I don't feel like that's the only place you can meditate. You can be walking. That's usually when I would do it. It's when I'm out on a hike, and I wanted to be able to kind of do it that way. So wherever you are, take a moment to be as comfortable as you can be. Take deep, slow breaths, which is just kind of nice. And I did want this to be intentionally slow. I didn't want someone else to be telling you what to do here. I wanted you to move on when you're ready to move on. So that's why there's no one telling you what to do. You're oh, I'm actually ready to go on to the next step. And if you want, you can also, there's a kind of subtle ring on the background here that you can breathe with if you want. So focus on each inhale and exhale. And when you get distracted, remember to focus on your breathing. And then I remind you that you can take your time going through each one of these phrases. So here's the first kind of set, and this is the self-compassion part. And the first time I did this was hard for me, the first time. So maybe this is easy, maybe it's hard for you, I don't know. But go as slowly as you need to when you do this. So you say nice things to yourself. So in your head, you say may I be peaceful? And then you just kind of say that and think about it until you're ready to move on. May I be peaceful with whatever is happening. May I be at ease and happy. Just nice things to say to yourself. May I care for myself in this ever-changing world graciously. And then this next set is thinking about a loved one. I find this one particularly easy. Like you already like this person. And so I guess we've kind of finished the self-compassion part of this, of loving kindness, but I think it's really great if you can extend kind feelings towards more than yourself or other people. So you then start with a loved one, and I usually pick my husband for this one, and then you say same phrases to them, basically. So may you be peaceful, and you just insert their name when you're thinking about it. And then the next grouping is someone you're neutral towards. Maybe you just don't know them very well. And so you get that person in mind, someone that you're like, oh, I don't have strong feelings on them either way. And then you extend these nice things to them as well. And so it's just those same phrases again. Okay, this one I want to give some preface to. So if you're doing this for the first time and you're going through something, or maybe don't pick your arch nemesis for the first time. Like, it's not, I feel like it can be hard. If you can do that right away, that's awesome. And then they can maybe be less of an arch nemesis to you or something. But sometimes if this is difficult, I'm like, well, maybe pick someone who just kind of irritates you or something like that instead. And you can still get hearts from, that person as well. But if it's your first time through, maybe pick, something medium, maybe not something that is really difficult, and maybe you can work your way into that. And so then you wish them the same things. I'm going a little fast through this. Like, you can go slowly through it, just because it's, repetitive at the moment. I wanted to kind of get through this portion as well. But this one is I like this one because you can click on any of the clouds, which I think is just fun. Usually the traditional one that you pick for a larger community is all living beings or all things that have breath. If that is like kind of a bit too abstract or too large for you, you can pick something a little bit more targeted, like everyone in my family or my club or my team or work, or you can pick one of these instead. There's also like all things that have breath is another like traditional one that you'll hear a lot, but I like all living beings, so I'm gonna stay with that one and go on to community. And so may all living beings be peaceful. May all living beings be peaceful with whatever is happening. I just think it's so sweet. I love how it's kind of like rungs of compassion, like with yourself, someone you love, something neutral. And I just kind of like how it looks like it's kind of starting with you, but going outwards. And then when you're done, you get a rainbow, and it tells you you've done an awesome job and that you've completed the meditation, and may your next endeavor be purposeful and kind. So that's pretty much all the app does, is bring you through this loving kindness meditation. And I'm going to go through some of the goals of the app. Some of the goals, I wasn't trying to make this addictive in any way, but I wanted it to be deliberately slow so that you really interacted with the text. I wanted to make sure that it was peaceful but welcoming at the same time, or even slightly fun, just like a little bit fun. And I wanted to make sure you had dark mode available to you, like a true like black background. And then I also wanted it to be sound free, because sometimes sounds to me personally can be distracting. So I wanted something that I could listen to anything while I was doing it, or not have to listen to anything at all and just go through the phrases. Some of the tech, it's a PWA. So I'm sure I said this, you can like download it to your iOS device or Android or If you're on Chrome, at least on Mac, I know you can add it to your computer there. PWAs, I feel like on iOS are still like, they're still not quite there yet, but it was fun to work on that as well. So I use React Router, local storage. There's no database associated with this. So it's a front-end application. Style components, SVG, Canvas, animations. It kind of chose whatever felt right for whatever I was trying to do. And so I use GSAP, React Transition Group, Request Animation Frame, which is kind of like just writing the animation yourself, the request animation frame, and CSS transitions and animations. I feel like I went really quick through that. But thank you for having me and for going through that meditation with me. If you want to contact me, I'm on GitHub and Twitter, and the links to the slides here. I used MDX Deck, which was really fun. I hadn't used that before, so that I could incorporate this little component from my React app into MDX Deck. And that article that kind of inspired the whole application, you can look at that as well. And that's, thank you again for having me. Yeah, I might go back to my headphones so I can hear you guys better.
Oh, yeah, well done, Shalanah. I love that a lot.
Oh, hang on. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like like the little cloud character and the pacing and style of the animations. It's yeah, very fitting for other stuff in the genre. I'm thinking of like the animations inside of Headspace. The pacing and general style is like kind of similar. So very, very appropriate.
Thanks. I'm also here and open to answer any tech questions you have about it as well. But
so what was the biggest challenge in working with this? Oh, and also, did you do the illustrations yourself?
So actually, I found a little tiny cloud. I did pay someone, but I changed a lot of it. I paid someone to create I basically created something that's close to the cloud guy that I use everywhere. And but I altered it significantly. I did like find I could probably find the initial thing that I was like, oh, I just like that. I like the way they like organized it. And the face ended up being a bit different, but I did start by at least the cloud icon itself I purchased the rights to that illustration, and then the rest was me designing it. So that the app layout and stuff like that was me.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like simple enough that you might not have had any like issues with SVG. I know like Safari can get like weird if there's like filters or like clipping or something like that in the SVG, but it looks like it's pretty clean SVG.
Thanks.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
There are a lot of animation using like I saw like 4 different techniques for animation within the application.
Yeah.
How do you know when to draw the line of when to use what, or like when it's appropriate to mix and match, and how to make sure that you're not like adding side effects by bringing too many animation things together?
Oh, I mean, I feel like that's like a $1 million question. Like, I think it's something I still struggle with now. I think when I do a side project, I kind of do whatever I want. So a side project, I was like, someone was like, oh, I think there should be a rainbow like in it at some point. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a fun challenge. So I did that with request animation frame. So like, that's just kind of like, that's kind of browser stuff, and you write it all yourself. And I used, I think for like, I liked some of GSAP's easing. So sometimes I'd use that, and you're kind of like a little bit limited on CSS when it comes to easing stuff, like just a little bit. So sometimes I won't do that. Sometimes it's just easy to use CSS and keyframes. So I'll just pick it because it's easy. And then sometimes and I wanted to use, I think, GSAP, so I just went for it. And then the request animation frame, I think it's very particular. You're like, I need to use that for this. I can't use something else. It's usually like I have to use request animation. It's so specific, and it's painting in such a certain way. Like I've got little sparkles, and that's with you know, request animation frame and canvas. So I think it's tough. I feel like it's whatever I feel like at the moment, and whichever one I feel like, oh, I feel like this does this animation justice enough, you know, like I feel like this does it well enough. And then if I feel like it needs something else, or I really want that bounce effect, I might use a library or something like that. So
Thanks.
yeah. Oh yeah,
I was gonna
SVG
ask.
stuff you want to use kind of like GSAP too. SVG and GSAP kind of work really well together sometimes. So sorry.
But what? Oh, go ahead. I think somebody else was asking a question.
Oh, I was going to ask you, how did you do the pulsing? First of all, that's a really cool idea. I didn't notice it till you pointed it out, but it adds so much to the aesthetic. Like, it's really nice. And then like, but how?
I believe I have a container and I have a keyframe animation just going forever. It's just like a little tiny scale that's going on the whole thing.
So there's like 5 little SVGs and they all get stretched, or like, what is it? Break it down a little bit for me, I guess.
I'd have to look at it a little bit, but it was the hard part was like trying to keep that pulsing going from slide to slide. So in order to keep that around, you have to like keep that component on that slide, like all of them. So like that part was the thing that I felt like was a little bit harder because I was using React Router. So I had to like make sure this illustration was like always around for certain pages so that it wouldn't get like, you know, interrupted. Yeah, I'm pretty sure what I did is I just have a keyframe on a given, you know, area with that like SVG placed and whatever things are inside of it. And then one of the circles doesn't get moved. I think I used the keyframes on 2 things. So like the SVG area and then the background like ring gets the same keyframes. They start at the same time. I believe that's how I did it. And not 100% sure.
Just a side note, if you want like insane amounts of love, some of the clouds I've noticed in the app, if you right click on them, just start spewing hearts and it'll just like keep going.
Yeah, you could definitely press. You can long press as well on them and they'll just keep giving you hearts. Forever.
Some days you need a little more love than others.
Yeah. My cat is still kind of like prowling around and meowing. But
It sounds like the cat's the one who needs the compassion tonight. Huh?
I think he would agree with that at all times. He also would think he wouldn't want it to be hearts. He would just want it to be like food.
Oh yeah,
like, just
little fishies. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Shalanah, any challenges or observations from the PWA side, like
oh my god,
setting it up, making it, the manifest file, like what was that like?
I kind of wish I wrote it down. So like this app, I started it like a year ago in a completely different state. So like but I'm not working on it all the time, but like started a year ago and it was like super simple, no animations, just like pick your phrases and go through them. That's all it was. And so like then I'd like a month later do something and 2 months later do something or who knows. And then I think it was like 2 months ago, I was like, maybe it was more, I'm not sure. It was like, oh, I think I should make this into a PWA. And so I used Create React app with this one. So I had to do something with the service worker because I wanted a different I wanted things to be, I wanted you to get the latest and greatest as soon as you came into the app. So I had to change that strategy basically. The like Create React app has like a certain strategy that it uses. And I had to kind of tell it like, hey, when you come in, just refresh if there's something new. I don't want you looking at the old thing. So that was one thing. The number of icons is, I don't know, I'd have to look at it, but like iOS wants something, and then there's the like splash page on, you don't have much, some things you don't have any control over, like the splash page on Android devices, which I'm a Pixel, as a Pixel phone. So like what you see there is very like, they always show like an icon plus the, I wanted more control there. Anything else with the PWA? I feel like you definitely need to make sure you bring in the assets correctly because you want all of those to get, you know, cached. I felt like the icon stuff was kind of crazy because it was just more than I expected, I think. But once I settled on what, I think there's some other weird stuff, like I can do PWAs on Macs, you know, with Chrome. You can actually download an app. And then the bar at the top is a certain color sometimes. And I was like, oh man, Twitter is a PWA, so you can download that. And they did a nice job matching the top bar. And I feel like, I don't know if I had to use Helmet to make sure it matched the theme that you wanted. So like if you went to the black theme, I wanted black to be the top. If you're on the navy theme, I wanted navy to be at the top. It's just like, so it was interesting because you're trying it on so many different devices, and I don't know.
Is that control with like a meta tag, and that's why you had to use Helmet?
I think it might be. I think so. Yeah, I think it is. I wish I had written like a post on it because I did so much in a very short time that was all PWA related. And maybe someday I'll look through that stuff. look at my change log and try to explain it someday. But it was fun. It was still fun to like try it out. Yeah. Well, if you have any other future questions, you can always, you know, shoot me a message and I'll do my best to answer them. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Shalanah.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Great.